Hello, welcome to Abel Farm. My name is Abel Kinkela. I am a telecom network engineer based in Luanda, Angola, and I've decided to venture into poultry farming. And the reason is pretty obvious for most of us. I wanted to diversify my income, but in particular also as someone who has grown up in a community where agriculture in general is like the main activity that help us carry on with our lives. Is something that is helping me to reconnect with my childhood and to reconnect with everything my dad and mother used to do when I was a child. In this video, I want to share with you why it is so important for you to start with a reasonable amount of chickens in your farm, because that number is based on so many items that are connected together that will allow you to achieve success. And I will tell you that based on my own experience, by telling you my own story and my own context. And I think that is enough to help you also decide how many chickens you can start with. I started with 1,000 chickens, and the reason number one has been my experience. I judge myself as someone who understands about poultry farming, but did not have the practical experience, even though I went to a chicken farming course. I've also visited a couple of farms in the city of Luanda, but none of that allowed me to say, I know this enough and I'm going to start with, let's say, 2,000 or 3,000 chickens, because that's where the profitability actually is, right? That's where you see the profits, and that's where you want to go to start thinking about maybe retiring or giving up your current job and focusing on farming. Those are the numbers you want to achieve, like 3,000, 5,000. But why not just start like with that number and then quit your job and so on? So the reason why I did not do that is because I don't have enough experience to manage that big of a farm. And if you know also, my farm ready to house 4,000 chickens. So it's a very ideal number that could, if achieved, allow me to focus on farming and give a pause to my current job. Number two is you look at the expenses. How much the feed is going to cost you on a monthly basis, how much the transportation is going to cost you, because you have to consider how much, for example, a single trip takes you to take a car from your local market to drop the feed here. Like, how much are they asking for a single trip? And you also look at the expenses like the salary. So number three is you look at the profitability that you're expecting from your farm. So like, how much can you spend but still be profitable with the amount of chickens that you have? And that's what I also looked at. When I look at my expenses, they are too much. They are a lot. Every month I have to spend in terms of their feed, in terms of water, in terms of transporting the feed from the local market to the farm, and then paying the staff to stay here, feeding them, all of these aspects. So when I looked at all the expenses, and then thinking about profitability, I also thought about the worst case scenario. That means what is the worst price eggs can be sold in the local market? Then I do my math based on that. And that is also what guides you to produce the feed itself, right? How efficient is your feed is actually you thinking about the worst case scenario of egg prices in the market, and thinking about, okay, what are the ingredients that I need to make my feed cheaper but also of good quality for my chicks to, or for my chickens to achieve, the weekly targets that you're expecting. And number four is that you look at the worst case productivity scenario that may happen in your farm, but will keep you still profitable in your venture, right? For example, what will happen if your birds produce at, let's say, 60%, right? If your birds produce at 65%, what really can happen, right? Maybe you cannot control if they produce, let's say, only by 50%. That's very difficult. But when we think about productivity, often we tend to think about your birds producing at 80, 85%, 90% for you to be profitable, right? But think about the cases where your birds did not produce that amount and they are producing at 60%. Can you still be profitable, right? If you think about 60% and also think about the worst case scenario of egg selling in the market, can you still be profitable, or can you take something out of that business? So those are the pieces that I try to put together to decide that no, based on my expenses, based on the worst case scenario of egg prices in the market, and based on the worst productivity scenario, I'm still going to take something out of this business, and therefore I am going for 1,000 layer chickens. Those are the decisions that led me to this number. And I think you in your situation also can decide how many chickens are ideal for your business. And that was it for this video, and thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, supporting this channel. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.